In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to a place at the table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome to a place at the table. If you want it to be a happy new year, don't just turn over a new leaf, but pay close attention to money and taxes. I'm focusing on when tax corporation meets trust deficit. You can later.
Trust deficit, Yinka? Some things don't seem to change at all. However, taking a leaf from your book, I'll be giving some practical advice to guide us through 2026, our year of taxes. Can I hear your amen?
Amen.
Amen, Benga. Some things need to change, whether we like it or not. I'll be confronting the controversial issue of white validation and asking, when did this become our moral standard?
Nothing like grabbing the bull by the horns, Ronke. I'm also confronting the issue of choices when it comes to social media exposure. Are we in danger of projecting ourselves at the expense of the protection of our children?
Well, I'm laying it bare and I'm open to being corrected. I'm saying that Nigeria is structured to encourage fraud or questionable income.
No holds barred. You've chosen to kickstart your year with us, so might I say you're in good company. Settle down and let's do justice to the issues on the table. On the 10th of December 2025, a seemingly routine memorandum of understanding was signed between the Federal Inland Revenue Service and France Tax Authority, the GDFIP. Almost immediately, outrage followed. Politicians, professionals, and everyday citizens raised red flags. Was Nigeria about to export the tax data of its citizens to France? Were we outsourcing sovereignty under the guise of technical cooperation? In a country already plagued with data privacy and data breach issues, trust is no longer luxury. It's actually currency. The Nigerian Revenue Service, NRS, responded swiftly. No data sharing, they said. No exchange of taxpayer information. The MOU, according to the service, is strictly for technical assistance, capacity building, system strengthening, and institutional learning. They further assured Nigerians that the National Data Protection Act will be fully respected and that collaboration with local fintechs remain intact. Yet, questions remain. According to POSHARE, this type of agreement is not unusual. Tax authorities across the world routinely engage in bilateral cooperation to improve efficiency, digitalization, and compliance, especially as tax systems struggle to keep pace with a globalized digital economy. There has been many such agreements even in Nigeria. But despite the clarifications, POSHARE believes that the taxpayer information constitutes a critical national asset that reveals much about economic activity, wealth distribution, and corporate operations, and could provide a foreign power with strategic insights into Nigeria's fiscal landscape, potentially enabling economic espionage or geographical leverage in an era of digital colonialism. A number of previous agreements that later proved unworthy were also once described as standard, globally recognized cooperation framework. The concern is whether guardrails are in place to protect our national interest over foreign interests, elite capture, and policy abuse in the agreement. Without the National Revenue Service releasing the MOU to the public, it would be difficult to accept the NRS position on the protection of data and sovereign interest. Genuine transparency requires that the document be made available for independent technical examination rather than through press release summaries. The lesson from this episode is simple. Technical cooperation is not the problem. Poor public understanding is. And in tax matters where money, privacy, and sovereignty intercept, transparency is not optional. It's a mandate.
I would like to take a go. I love this advocacy, and based on my experience in being a part of partnership between government and also private sector, what I realize is there is usually a non-disclosure clause in most MOUs. So for NRS, trying to hold back on sharing the details of the MOU, it's not particularly out of place or strange. And I don't think that the focus should be on not sharing data, because the core of the MOU itself is digital transformation, information exchange, and leveraging on France's AI-powered audits.
According to what the NRS said.
According to what the NRS said. But even from what they said, you cannot train a machine learning, you cannot train an AI without data.
Yeah.
So there is definitely going to be data sharing.
Yeah.
But the question the conversation we should be having should be about ethical use of data and strict protocol for sharing, and the implementation of independent audits to ensure that, okay, say we all agree this is what we are doing, but are we doing it the right way? And then when it starts smelling like neocolonialism, that is when we need to pause and say, okay, what precisely are we doing here? Basically, Nigeria needs to stay woke. I know we have been romancing France for a bit, but again, slow down.
Elsie?
So they've come out to say no data sharing. I like how Zuma has broken it down, because if you're saying that you're going to use their AI-powered whatever, right? You need data to learn. And it will be interesting to see how that would play out without data sharing. I don't know. But again, like you said, ethical use of data, and they have said that the NDPA rather, which is Nigeria Data Protection Act, right? I believe it covers this, and the hope would be that they abide by the law, right? But this also speaks largely to the title of your advocacy already, a part of it, which is trust deficit. Yeah. The reason we are asking this question is because we do not trust the government. The average Nigerian do not want to have any relationship with the government because there's no trust there, right? You also said something about one of the lessons is poor public understanding. I think beyond that is poor communication, because we've always had communication issues when it comes to the government and the people, which is one of the things that is also feeding into the trust deficit. They need to begin to employ professionals that handle their communication. Before a communication goes out, people just think, oh, press release, anybody can write it, this is what we want to say. No. When you get a professional, they think of too many things. There's a 360 thought that goes into a press release that you see. How would people react? How would this make them feel? What is this? How is this going to position even the company or the government in the next 5 years? There's a lot that goes into it. But right now, everybody feels that anybody can be a communications person.
Okay, so my question is, what is the duty of National Assembly in this whole transaction? I mean, are they involved, or it is the prerogative of the president? Number two, can we know the benefits of our relationship with France? Because this France, is it that Nigeria is a new home since they have been chased away from Burkina Faso? I'm just asking.
And also because we have been chased away from the US. So they're all looking for new lovers.
New lovers, thank you. So,
everybody is on the streets.
Then my third question is, what happens to our own native AI and fintech gurus? Who are the brain behind, or who are the ones shifting culture all over the world in terms of fintech? What happens to them? Must we always employ or engage? It doesn't have to be white to be right. Thank you.
That ties into your conversation.
It doesn't have to be white to be right.
That's exactly what my advocacy is about today. So mine is about colonization, recolonization, neocolonization. And my first question was just to ask, is it something that we cannot do ourselves? Must we always outsource everything? I went to a fintech conference in November, and I was blown away by the things that Nigerians... Yes! I was blown away by the things that Nigerians are doing all across Africa. The amount of money they're bringing in, the technology that they've put in place, the brilliance, the minds. So what is going on? Is it everything that we must... This is another thing that we want to outsource again. So that concerns me. because I don't want to be recolonized, and I just think we're gradually being recolonized. See the GM foods coming, slipping in here and there. You know, little things here and there. Before you know happening, they are cumulative. With what is happening now, we've talked about communication. I will introduce education as well. I don't think that a lot of people even know what you're talking about, because even me, I had to think twice, you know, what is it talking about? You know, it's heavy for some people. The tax in itself is overwhelming for a lot of people, which I believe we're still going to talk about today.
Yeah.
It's in itself. So when we now talk about data issues and things like that, I'm not sure if a vast majority of the society even understand that this is happening. I think it's just somewhere, it's not even anywhere. It's just for the 1% of the 1% intellectuals like you that are talking about it at the moment. Yeah. But for me, what really concerns me is we can do it. We have brilliant minds. Even abroad, you find that a lot of the things that are being pioneered, or doctors, tech people, they are Nigerians. Yeah. Innovation, they are Nigerians. So we can.
Several years ago, PayPal, remember them? They blocked Nigerians and just basically said Nigerians cannot open an account or transact through them. And what happened? Okay, a lot of Nigerians were affected, but then we had Flutterwave, we had Paystack, and we had, you know, some of these big fintechs coming out and providing that service. And guess what now? PayPal is coming back to Nigeria. They say, oh, by the way, we now think we want to start doing business. At some point, Nigerians have to say, look, we can do this.
We can do it.
And we don't need foreign collaboration. Well, maybe foreign collaborations, but we don't need them. We can do this ourselves.
We don't need
and I think that's
validation.
the message. Transparency can be likened to window viewed from two sides. And as such, both parties need to ensure it is clear enough to enable good visibility.
Interesting analogy, Yinka. Let me see if I can make the vision clearer from the citizen's perspective. All these posts flying around saying, put gift, put loan, put disbursement, put in transfer narration, put my father's money, my mother's allowance. We now save you from tax in 2026. Let me repeat it slowly. Narration does not protect you. Narration is not proof. Sit down. Let me explain why. I've been seeing many posts online telling people, if you want to send me money, just put gift, put loan, put support, put disbursement. I laugh in Onitsha. Let me say this clearly and honestly. The Nigerian Revenue Service is not taxing you based on narration. They are not even paying attention to it. The system watches your inflow. Imagine this, for years, the total money entering your account is about 1 million naira per year. Suddenly, from nowhere, 1 billion naira starts entering your account in 1 year. Not once, maybe 4 times in a year. Sure, you'll be in jail. Each time you write gift as narration. Let me ask you a simple question. Do you honestly think the system will say, oh, he wrote gift, let us ignore it? No, man, because anyone can type anything. What matters is this, pattern and volume. Let me also be honest with you. If a large amount enters your account suddenly, banks flag it. Reports are filed. Questions are asked. Sometimes other agencies are notified, e.g. EFCC. So this idea that just put gift and relax is dangerous advice, my brother. Hey, Yinka, does this mean gifts are taxed? See, no. Gifts can be taxed, exempt. But here is the difference. You must prove it as a gift. Not by narration, but by evidence. Narration is for you, not the tax man. For example, you open your statement and see 50,000 naira transport to my 12 market. Immediately, you remember what it was for. You can find it in your record. Narration is not a tax strategy. Narration is not a loophole. Narration is not evidence. It's just a note to yourself. What protects you is this. 1, structure. 2, records. 3, consistency. And 4, honesty. Stop looking for shortcuts. If you go on shortcuts, you will cut your life short. Start building structures. The system is no longer emotional. It is digital. Knowledge saves money. Save this post, save this broadcast, and share with people. Thank you.
Nigerians have the tendency to exploit a loophole and turn that loophole into a gaping crater. Yeah. Like you said, the whole idea of descriptions and narrations is for you. It's in any way it's for you to be able to have a better tax planning. So I think I did this advocacy last year in December, where I talked about the need for Nigerians to be taught about tax planning and tax optimization. So so that's where the idea came from. It's just for you to know that whatever flows into your account, you can categorize it and in the event where there's a tax audit, which is very unlikely, because
they're too small in the grand scheme of
there's
things.
no tax authority in the world that has the resources to audit every taxpayer. They don't. So what they do is that they take a sample, and usually that sample will be the highest, the highest income earners.
Yeah,
so the idea that, okay, all I need to do is change all the narration. So you have Nigerians who are saying everything in your account, you just turn it to gifts and donations and everything. Be that as it may, I'm quite happy that there's been a lot of conversation around tax in Nigeria over the last 1 month, mainly because of the implementation of the new tax law. In the first place, let's even change that word new tax law. Because in reality, there's nothing in that tax that it was not there before.
Yeah.
Essentially, what they've done is to just make it a lot efficient to administer that tax. Efficiently, and made it easier to pull people into the tax net, and then the process of tax administration in itself. So the fact that Nigerians are just waking up right now to, this tax, it's always been there, okay? But now you have a system where they're not just saying it is there, now they will get to you because they're using technology, they're using digital assets, they're using AI, they are using all the information linked by your NIN, by your BVN, and all the information that you provide to be able to create a tax profile of every single Nigerian taxpayer.
There is a lot of misinformation, a lot of information gap regarding the new tax law. Yeah. And this is not even a government thing. It's beyond the government not communicating, because there has been a lot of stakeholders engagement, a lot of town halls, a lot of press releases, media briefs, and all of that regarding it. It is also a citizen responsibility. Like, a lot of people are just becoming aware that there is something called tax, and we are all meant to pay it as far as we are within above a certain income limit. But if you like, put gifts. If you like, put my grandmother's father's burial. The moment we get into the AI-powered audits, you can't, they wouldn't miss out on you, because what it tracks is trends. Yeah. As far as there is an upward spike, it will be investigated. And this is even beyond taxation, like Yinka said, like you also shared in your advocacy. As far as there is an upward tick, alerts are sent out, you get flagged, by different organizations. One thing people need to realize that tax exemption is not based on narration. It is based on proof. So if you're seeking rent relief, you have to provide proof that you actually paid rent. Yeah. If you're seeking life insurance relief, you have to show proof that you actually paid life insurance. So your narration can't save you. It's just proof at the end of the day. This is where the money came from. This is what it was just for.
Someone like me, I like credible sources of information, because indeed that has gone viral. This narration thing everywhere. Just put narration. In fact, even in our little business, our WhatsApp group, you guys will put it in capital letter. It's everywhere. So it's important that we know where to get information that is credible. Yeah. Where should people be going for information? I think I have questions actually now. Who are the people that are being taxed? Because is it the few businesses that are in Ikoyi and the Magudu that they are taxing? Or is it the Agberu or the person that is selling bread? How are we going to track all those sort of things. I always feel as if sometimes when we have these things, we are picking on just a few. That's what those are my thoughts. A few people to pay the taxes, because education is not even there for people to even understand what to do, how to do. It's not there. People struggle. So who are these, all these things they're talking about, who are they for? Because I was looking online trying to do some research, and a lot of Nigerians, I don't know the percentage, don't actually, they survive by daily earnings, what they eat. So how do you tax that? Some of them is just cash, you know. So how does it work? I don't know. You know, you guys are the tax. How do we prove it? You said structure. You talk about structure, and I understand structure. But again, it's always this, in my opinion, these few businesses that are structured, that they pick on. How does the everyday person that is just, you know, the hawkers, how are they being
our government claims that
what's their structure like? If they're going to audit them, what is it going to be like? I don't know how that's going to be. If I go to mile 12 and I want to put a narration, mile 12 market, tomatoes, and I go there, they're going to give me a receipt so that I can prove it when I'm being audited. In fact, the people that are even doing it are the ones I feel are bullied the most. Go to the market, you see people, women selling gold there now, moving millions. I mean,
yeah, and those are the people.
How do they catch those?
Those are the people that they're actually trying to target.
Yeah, but they're moving cash.
Yeah, they are. And so the process is to get them digitalized. A lot of those people, you're saying, if you go to pay them, they don't necessarily carry cash. They'll give an account. There are a lot of landlords in Lagos, for instance, who collect millions in rent. We're talking about that, you know, millions in rent, and they don't pay anything, all right, because they're not captured. In this system, they won't escape.
They can't escape it.
They can't escape it. So there's a whole lot.
They probably can afford it. How about the others that can't afford it?
They don't need to pay tax. So that's why we have to say that. I think the lesson that we have to spread out is that there's tax avoidance and there's tax evasion. Tax avoidance is legal. But the way for you to legally avoid tax is for you to be tax compliant.
But just to add, I mean, I'm not taking away anything from your advocacy, because I saw all those interesting broadcasts going around and screenshots, and then you can begin to see the interesting screenshots of narration as well. Please, he begged me to kill, no tax, you know, very funny. But in the same vein, I just want to really add very quickly, narration, as much as it's not mandatory, I also advise businesses to not overlook it, because in the financial space and even fintech and talking about anti-money laundering, yes, it's not what is going to save you, but it's definitely a supportive document to what you're saying. So it's used in terms of, say, you're adding for additional context to what you're saying you have done, helps during manual reviews or investigation, assist compliance, and even the report you talked about, the STR and SARs, those narration also help in when they're filing it to say, this is what this person says this money is used for. And it also helps to even tell them, should I file this? Because like you said, if you've been moving a particular amount of money and certain spike goes there, and you clearly say this is equipment, it also helps the premise of the conversation for when they reach out to you to say, what happened here? And you clearly say, okay, I put it there, equipment. So there's already a basis of honesty that they can build on in their investigation. So for business people, especially, even individuals, I know that there are some financial apps right now, or even banks, that mandate the narration or you can't send out money.
Okay. Short course spell laziness and equals bigger problems down the line, just as ignorance will not protect us from liability.
Benga, you might as well be speaking for me. I can't seem to say it often enough or loud enough. Fellow Nigerians, break the mental chains. Be educated. Think for yourselves. Let me ask a question that Nigerians must stop skipping. Must a white person, a foreigner, approve something before we believe it's right? I recently spoke online about children being dressed inappropriately in public places. It went viral, over 1 million views. And the loudest defense was this: but white people do it. Oyinbo people, they do them. That sentence exposes a deeper problem. Somewhere along the line, white behavior replaced critical thinking. Instead of asking, is this safe? Is this wise? Does this protect our children? We now ask, is it normal abroad? Let me be clear. This is not a condemnation of everything Western. I'm UK trained. I lived in the UK for 2 decades. The West shaped me significantly. My education, exposure, systems thinking, and advocacy work. I have seen its strengths firsthand. I respect them. But influence is not ownership of my moral compass or roots. The problem begins when foreign endorsement becomes our evidence of correctness. Pidgin English was dismissed as inferior for decades until BBC Pidgin amplified it. Overnight, it became acceptable. The language didn't change, the validation did. We mock indigenous accents, yet admire foreign ones. We shorten African names to sound global. Roni. We straighten hair, bleach skin, import wigs, accents, and ideals, then call it progress. Many of our children no longer even know what an African looks like without modification. Historically, African societies prioritize child protection, modesty, and communal accountability. Many Western societies prioritize individual freedom and personal expression. Different histories, different social realities, different consequences. Yet today, exposure is defended with a lazy refrain. They do it abroad or in saner climes. Who is they? What makes a climb sane? And when the foreign culture replaces discernment, if a practice endangers children, but it's popular overseas, does popularity cancel responsibility? If harm speaks with a foreign accent, does it become harmless? This obsession with proximity to whiteness is not modernity. It is unresolved inferiority disguised as progress, laced with post-traumatic slave conditioning. Development requires discernment, not imitation. Context, not copying. Wisdom, not validation. Africa did not lose its wisdom. We simply stopped trusting it.
So that thinking for ourselves that you asked there is quite hard. A lot of people can't think for themselves. They need a leader who will do the thinking for them, and the herds they follow. A lot of people are mentally colonized. And like you asked again, when did the whites become the moral standard? To be fair, don't let me go to that part, but yeah, let me say it. I even consider a lot of their ethics morally bankrupt because we have totally different values, totally different cultures. So why do we have to superimpose, normalize our culture that works for us, that has worked for us for decades, over ours? You see, organization, this is even beyond moral compass. It applies across all spheres of life. Also in professional competence. You see organization looking for a token Oyibo on their team so they can be taken seriously. You see employers looking for someone who has worked in a foreign company. They are not even looking at company. They just say, oh, you worked with this firm. Oh, yes, I want him. You see them looking for foreign trained graduates. Not even about competence. Even if this person did one online course at Harvard for 30 minutes. They'll say, oh, he has Harvard. You don't start wondering, like, what precisely is going on here? I think it's important for us as Africans, as Nigerians, to reflect and look at what precisely do we find important? What is important to us as the individuals? What is important to us as a collective? Do we want to get out of this new colonialism, or do we want to stay stuck, in the shadows of our colonial masters?
I like how Zuma put it. We're now mentally colonized, right? For me, whenever this kind of conversation comes up, I think Zuma had a very similar advocacy recently, right? In terms of our look and what we deem right. It has to be foreign wigs. And you are saying it's not. Anytime people bring this advocacy, my hair is always foreign. You don't bring it when my hair is African. Please be telling me.
Just get angry and just remove it.
Wow, this one is unremovable. But anyway, just to add to that, white validation is also being weaponized by government supporters, right? You see a case where you're trying to explain something that is not right in terms of administration, governance, and all that, and they will go and look for data. But it's happening here too. Their own is worse, right? Case in point, I remember when I did a bit of conversation around open defecation and all that, and say, India has the most. I'm like, okay, India. You want us to start breaking down India in all this conversation, right? So it has, I mean, everybody right now, even for politicians, they just look at what to use to ensure that they hold you mentally. And again, it's just a game of numbers and game of winning, right? But we have to really sit down and critique things, like ask questions. If they say this is like this, why is it like this?
Yeah.
Why do I have to do it because someone from XYZ country did it? If they did it and there's some semblance of positivity in that, can we take that and break it down and also bring it back home so that it
culturally
aligns,
relevant.
thank you, to our value and our culture, not because, oh, they did it here, then that's the standard of how it's done.
Yeah.
The Queen of England will never speak Yoruba
Nigerian
as
English.
Benga.
Fair enough.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And
not
literacy is not English. Is that what you're telling us?
Absolutely.
That literacy is not English.
No.
Yeah.
Knowledge is not
You can
English.
be literate and
Education is not
speak
English.
Yeah.
Capacity building is not English. That is not assigned to a particular language. No. And my inability to say, oh, we have to do this, does not represent the signboard of my wisdom.
I think that's debatable, boss.
It is okay. You can take that. You see, we need to build our true identity, our culture to reflect our future, to build our future, because we have lost it totally.
Yeah.
You will see foreigners serving their jail time in Nigeria being paid higher than our own trained graduates. What's wrong with
They call
us?
them experts.
What experts?
Expatriates.
When we jackpot, they call us experts.
No,
When,
immigrants.
when we jackpot, what do they call us?
Immigrants.
They give us the name that suits them. Listen, who tells you that your adimole or your patewo on your head or is not beautiful, is not fitting? Must you put a bone straight on your head and your destiny is not straight? The hair many women put on their head is expensive than their brains.
Yeah, I agree.
You understand my apologies? I don't mean to disrespect anybody. We need to go back to our identities, our true identity. Sir, you know, in the early 16th century, administrations are professionally done in the Yoruba Benin Kingdom, that these people were coming here. I grew up to know that sheikh and the princes of some countries were coming here to take medical treatment in that Ibadan. This is not what somebody told me.
No, you're not. You're right. You're not.
You understand? So what? Suddenly we just became lazy. We don't want to think. We don't want to. Hey, brain capacity for every race and tribe are from the same manufacturer. We are all products. It now depends on how you exercise because it is elastic.
Okay. When people talk about northern data on literacy, the question I always ask is, literacy in what? Western education? Because an average northerner can read and write in Arabic. But because we are tracking for Western education, you say they are illiterate.
We think English is the standard.
We think we make Western education the standard.
Why not our own language?
I was in Qatar in November for a big conference, and they were very unapologetic. They were speaking Arabic.
Yeah.
They will give you mic to translate English if you want.
No.
But the core was English. It was Arabic,
in
rather.
South Africa, all the 9 languages are official language.
I mean, we have the Nok civilization, which dates back to 15th century.
Yeah.
So, and that at that time was known as perhaps one of the highest civilization levels, to which you had people coming in to understand. That's our culture. That's where we came from. The question is, what changed? Was colonization. It was this idea that there's a better civilization than what we had. And then there was that structural breakdown of our society, traditional, cultural, religious, all that, to what we have today. So essentially, we had that issue of colonization. Now, after independence, what we then had after that was neo-colonization, which was what Zuma was talking about.
It's still ongoing.
And it didn't take the form of hard neo-colonization in terms of the economy or the military. It was in culture. It was in dressing. It was in the way you speak, in things like that. And so for us, the way we take over is what you said earlier, shift the culture. Yeah. And I think we've started that through our music. Yeah. We're shifting the culture through our music. You can see that. Through our fashion. Yeah. You know, I went for my daughter's graduation at the UK. And, I asked, what is the dress code? They said, it's a suit and tie. I said, no. I went to my danshiki full with my beads, everything.
So we must learn to appreciate what we have before we can utilize it. This is what is at the heart of education, after all.
Indeed, Ronke, valuing what we have often means we have to protect it from abuse. Recently, I ran into someone whom I had only known from social media, and during a casual chat, an acquaintance asked about my children's ages, and before I could calculate their new age, this person blotted out their exact ages. I was turned. How could she know and remember something I was struggling to recall myself? In her words, it was your birthday recently, and you posted it. That simple statement was an eye-opener. It exposed a brutal truth: how much of our lives, our children's lives, we carelessly broadcast on social media. For someone who thought I was intentional, I realized I was dangerously complicit. We as parents are falling into a massive, heartbreaking loophole. We are so eager to share the joy and delight of our children that we forget the fundamental danger of the internet. Most of the people viewing those stories and pictures are not trusted friends. They are strangers who have not earned the right to a front row seat to our private lives and personal information. And their intentions, we simply cannot assume they are pure. We are unwittingly providing a roadmap for those who mean harm. We share pictures that include landmark identifiers of our homes, schools, places of worship, and frequently visited locations, sometimes while the children are right there. And the terrifying part is children are easy targets. All a predator needs are a name, a few random personal details harvested from your post, a casual lie about being a parent's friend, and our kids will most likely follow them. Parents, we have a sacred duty of care. Protecting our children from strangers is beyond locking the front door. It's about controlling the digital footprint we create for them. We are exposing them unnecessarily. We must pause and reflect deeply on what a stranger can glean about our children's lives just by scrolling through our pages. Let us be more than mindful in protecting the innocent lives we brought into this world. Their digital privacy is not a luxury, it is their shield. Let us be better protectors. Runke.
For someone like me that I work as a parenting practitioner, I also run a school. And I also share a lot online. And I have, my daughter is 20, and I think I've shared every birthday. And I'm not ignorant of the fact that these things happen. I never have been. I think there are different types of information you can share online. There's different types of information you can choose to share online. Like I said, I've shared every birthday. My daughter is a product of what I sell. And I've had this conversation several times. She's a product of what I sell. Now that she's 20, she'll say, "Mommy, don't post that." She will tell me. She probably didn't have then she didn't care when she was younger. But I will not share where we live. I will not share her school. I choose what will protect her. And her information being online in her own capacity has been highly beneficial to her. I think your daughter is the same. Her information being online got her scholarships of... Yeah. My daughter was picked up by the then presidential candidate, Fela Durotoye, to come on his leadership program. She has spoken globally. She has done so many things just by virtue of being online. She sold a book. She made millions in 1 week. People say, "You're leveraging on your mom." Yeah, who should she leverage on? You know what I'm saying? You know, so it has worked out for my daughter so much. She's a DJ now. She's not a DJ in school, but she DJs. The benefits for her, and it's not only her, I'm just using her as an example, it's a lot. So I think what you said that I took the most was reflect. We need to reflect. We need to think deeply, not just post for posting's sake. what am I posting? Ask those questions. And why am I posting? In fact, she had a social media Instagram page before she was of age, and I was managing it. Guess what? Some guys would still toast her, not knowing that I'm the one that was on the other end. She didn't even know what Instagram was at the time, but she was making money off Instagram. So we just have to be selective, and we must truly protect our children. Having said that, there are pros and there are cons.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
For someone like me, who is a typical Yoruba man, I don't rule out the fact of what you call monitoring powers. It doesn't matter who believes or who doesn't believe.
Monitoring spirits.
Whatever, monitor.
Village people.
I want it.
Whether village or urban, or it doesn't matter. Because of the space I work, I see things daily. And as of yesterday, I saw something that in 2025, I rescued 5 suicidal missions. 4 women and 1 man in 2025. I mean, part of what I do that I did in 2025. So be careful of. You won't see my family on social media. Personally, I don't do birthday. I don't do birthday. Whether party, I don't do. That's personal. There are reasons to that. And Yoruba says, if your hand had not taken the sword that killed your father, wisdom demands that you don't ask for the death that killed your grandfather. Yeah. Many people, somebody just say hi to your daughter. He has not proposed. They've not picked engagement date. You have gone to social media. I thank God. My daughter is now. Then the next thing, you don't see the guy again. Then you say, what happened? Do you understand what I'm saying?
She saw the red flags.
So not the only red flag.
Flag, no, the finish.
So sometimes, please be established. Let the soup or the stew be done in the kitchen
before you serve.
Before you serve the aroma on social media. Not everyone who laughed before you are actually laughing with you. Some are actually laughing at you. Be careful of what you expose to the world. Thank you for that.
I agree with that very last statement. Be careful of what you expose to the world. I mean, we might be laughing about it, but it's actually a part of our lives that we need to also take very serious, because I always say there's the physical realm and there's the spiritual realm. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but life is deep, right? It's deep. But again, I'm not a parent, at least not yet. I'm still flexing my life happily.
You shall be one this year.
This is our year of taxes.
It is not a year of babies.
Anyway, I absolutely align with what you said in terms of the different types of information that go on. And I think for Zuma, the encounter is just something that triggered the reflection. Of course. Which you have rightly said.
Which is valid, yeah.
Yes. Reflect and be very intentional about it. But what I would say is, just to add to the tips that have been shared, don't post in real time, even as an adult. When I'm somewhere, you'll not see the post. I'll take pictures, I'll make videos when I want to, or you probably see it when I'm already on my bed, laying down, right? And then, and then for home and school, those information should also be kept, because it's security-wise, they talk about it, right? Especially the landmark and things to your houses. So it's very important. Don't post in real time. Keep private information private, especially information that can be tied to your security. I mean, this is Nigeria again. You know how it is. So let's just take that. Reflect. Be intentional. Don't post in real time. Keep private information private.
So I take my bearings from a particular verse of scripture that says that nobody lights a candle and puts it under the bushel. All right, so the idea is that there's light. And if people don't see that light, they won't know about it. And that's where the power of social media is. So the fact is that if there's something to be shared about you and about your family, about your kids, okay, it's probably in your interest to expose it in one way or the other. However, you also have to protect. You have a duty of protection. Roger talked about my daughter. I mean, I can't deny the fact that as a young girl of 14, if she didn't have the kind of exposure she had through the media, having been featured by the BBC and co., she probably will not get the kind of opportunities that she got today. And but again, when I look at her life, many people, as exposed as she is, she's not on social media. You know, you don't see her posts, people don't know. And then the people know so much about her, but then they don't necessarily know her.
Personal life, yeah.
And it is very intentional because whatever we put out there is curated, carefully curated, that it protects her as much as it is. So I think that we can balance it.
Absolutely.
You know, that where there is something, where that child has a unique talent, you know, you say a child that, you know, it's 10, but they can do what, you know, play the piano and whatever. Yeah, you can project that for the child. You know, just this child has his talent and all that, but don't necessarily expose every other thing about that child.
Please, once your child gets to the point where they are doing industrial training and internship in the university, ensure that they open a LinkedIn profile and begin to update it.
Exactly.
That's social media too, but very curated for business and growth and professional. So once they reach that age, it might be different for different people.
Yeah.
Please ask that question. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? And begin to curate it properly.
Thank you for sharing that. As you can see, this is a message we all need to hear, including myself.
Still in the mode of appraisal, I will tell it to you straight, no soft lens. I'm saying that when life becomes a hustle, decency dies. It's a new year, but I'm not sorry to start by saying Nigeria is structured to encourage fraud or questionable income. I'm glad Dirty December is over, so we can have honest conversations about the state of consumer experience. Can we build a society that doesn't pressure everyone to be corrupt? House rents keep climbing, but income is not. A graduate will work donkey years to afford an old car. The math is not mathing. Yet we are expected to normalize it. I saw a trending video of a man complaining bitterly about the cost of a drink in a Lagos club. A bottle that sits on a supermarket shelf for 120,000 naira or thereabout was being sold for 6 million naira in a club. Now compare that to other clubs globally, that is a wide margin. A 2-bedroom short-let apartment went for 750,000 naira per night. A friend recently paid about 12 million naira for a 3-bedroom flat, not in Ikoyi, not in VI, or not anywhere you would reasonably call highbrow. Oh, and just yesterday, someone sent me a distress sale brief for a 2-bedroom flat at 210 million. Now, we can make excuses, but this is not normal. It makes neither economic nor moral sense. My questions are, what value are we really getting for these outrageous costs? How is this affordable and sustainable? The worst part is that despite all these payments, we hardly get value. There is no protection for citizens, just grab, grab, grab. Everyone has hijacked a corner and turned it into a cartel, from landlords to clubs to money-less, even the airport. Why should anyone pay to use a trolley? I've traveled through several airports and never paid a kobo for that basic service. Now that we've entered a new tax regime, our tax year, right, where the middle and, that's if they're still middle class, and upper classes are asked to pay more, can we at least have dividends that accrue to taxpayers, like airports with free trolleys and fewer officials begging for tips? Charge reasonably and deliver value that justifies the price. Also see regulators step in and restore sanity, because free markets still needs guardrails. What we have is not luxury or experience, but noise and ego. When life becomes a hustle, decency dies.
You see, our mistaken identity may destroy us as a people if we don't quickly adjust ourselves. Because this class of a thing, fueled by greed, bankrolling our lifestyle and culture. The system is designed in a way that some people are seen as superior and others as inferior. And that is why you will see somebody, you said something that graduates will work donkey years for them to buy
an old car.
Nations around us, countries around us in Africa, not Europe, once you start working, the system had provided for you how to get a brand new car. These brand new cars are not even imported. They are manufactured in their land. by the provision of the system. The National Assembly, their parliament had made things workable that you can't just come from Germany or you come from Holland or from America to just bring cars. You will produce there. But here, you are inside a 100 million naira car, but sitting for 4 hours inside traffic. So we need to go back up to our identity. I keep on saying this. Who are we? Who are you, Elsie, as an Igbo woman? Who am I as a Yoruba man? Who are you as an Hausa woman?
Fulani.
Fulani. Who are we as Nigerians? Who are we? What do we carry? What's our goal? What's our dream? What's the dream of Nigeria? What is the goal? Our leaders, and what plans would they have? I feel like crying. Something that you normally, with profit and everything, 1,200. You are asking me to bring 5,000 naira. I drop it. Man, sincerely yours. I don't want to mention the name. Not knowing that other people who had already picked different items, they were complaining, but nobody to lead the protest by rejecting and dropping it. Even though I dropped, everybody dropped their own, and we got out of the place.
So myself, I go out. If I see that you are unaffordable for me, I carry my bag. I go home. I get whatever it is I want in my house. And a lot of these issues, it's a big city problem and largely a Lagos problem. I was with a friend yesterday, and then was like, he even got someone to appraise his apartment, and then they said it's 220 million. It's a 2-bed, and it's not even in a really nice spot. And then even we had to pause, like, okay, what are they buying here for 220 million? Because the road is not even tarred.
We need to question ourselves. Like these 2 rooms, so plus the parlor, 3 rooms new.
You are missing the point. This is not even a tarred road. Like when it rains, you can't even drive your sedan on the road. I even had to pause. But anyway, it was like, it's you people who understand Lagos real estate market. At the end of the day, we need to go back to our identity. As an individual, who am I? What do I want for myself? And what is driving this desire and this purchase? Because as far as you can't do that, you always feel socially oppressed, and you always keep trying to keep up with the Joneses.
It's a free market. And unfortunately, as expensive as those things are, there are people showing up paying for it.
Thank you.
And as long as that continues, we'll keep having those high prices. Now, the question is, who are the those paying for them? Are they within the system? Okay, some of them are within the system, but a lot of them are outside of the system. So you have people from diaspora, for instance,
IJGBs,
who have ability to convert from pounds, dollars, euros to large amounts in naira, buying some of these properties, and they don't necessarily care because their, PPP sensitivity is very low.
I don't want to cut in your train of thought, but I just want to add something to what you're saying. The people complaining now
are the IJGBs.
So exactly, that's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
That it gets to a point, a saturation, point, what you call in economics equilibrium, where people will now begin to say, hang on, there's no value here.
Does it make sense?
Okay, and that's the lesson that we must say to people, that walk away. Okay, don't just accept those prices, walk away. We saw in December, ticket prices to the east, unimaginable, cost. Was it that the taxis had gone high, or fuel prices had gone high? No, it was greed. It was greed of the airlines who wanted to make a lot more money. If all the passengers or the whatever said, we're not going, let those planes fly empty, you realize the fact that the airlines will correct, because that's what the market forces everybody to do.
We don't really keep data in Nigeria, but the littles that I've seen online here and there, it's give or take about 1 million people coming to the country. Less. So I'm just being generous. And that is like less than 1% of the 220 million people we have in Nigeria. So for me, that deficit number is not even a thing. And as you rightly said, it's going to die out. Because as you said, let me use your word, everybody, they feel they touch everybody. They are feeling it. They're complaining about their braids, their nails, because they're charging them $250 and they can't afford it. You go and slave away in one country and come and they want to. So you spend all your savings. So you already see. But there are 2 things that I've heard today and I love. We've talked about identity and we talk about leadership. Somebody to lead. When somebody starts saying no, The others will say no. When somebody comes and says, this is who I am, I don't have to live in Lagos. Lagos is not Nigeria. Lagos is not Nigeria. Abuja is not Nigeria. My own is the everyday people that just want to put their head and go to work and come back. Leave the Ikoyi. Ikoyi is not Lagos now. Leave those ones. It's just aspirational. And there's this bandwagon mentality.
So the rent hike is now everywhere in Lagos.
Yes.
It's no longer just
That's why I said my own
Ikoyi.
concern is the everyday man. Forget about Ikoyi, because everyday man does not have to live in Ikoyi. Identity. Must you live in Ikoyi to be enough? When I moved to Lagos 14 years ago, I was staying with my parents in Ogudu. And people say, on the mainland, why are you on mainland? You have to be on the island, though. The same thing with this, and I will say it again, else you don't go vex. With this wig thing, everybody, you will just carry. Now they're selling wigs of 5K pounds, 10K pounds,
yes.
20,000 pounds.
But what's that?
Even, that's why he told me, she complained.
Now you go buy down.
Celebrity status, she complained. She said, wig 5K. People were now putting in the comments, haven't you seen the one for 10K, 20K? Because people will do anything just to feel as if they're better, I better pass your neighbor. We must build esteem. But the unfortunate thing is that who is going to build esteem in our children when the parents themselves don't have self-esteem?
Hey, bam.
That's just the problem.
Thank you.
How we're going to do it, I don't know. Because we need a collective. Laborers are few.
Yeah.
But until we accept our identity, until we accept that I live in Egbeda and I am more than enough.
And it's a place.
Thank you.
And it is a place. I eat. I'm not begging you to eat
Thank
anything.
you.
Absolutely.
If you like, live in Banana Island. That is your business. It doesn't make you any better than me. We can walk into the same rooms. We can have the same conversations. And one thing I heard from a bank manager many years ago, we all know her, I don't want to mention her name. She said, all those leggy houses, the owners are on the mainland.
Yeah.
Most of them are being rented. That was when I heard first that a lot of people don't even have 500K in their accounts in this Nigeria. Yeah. So now fake life now they live.
Hey.
Fake life.
Wake up.
Like Yinka said, you've kicked off the year on the right footing by joining the conversation at the table. Let's continue to stay on the issues that matter to all of us. Same time, same channel next week. Till then, it's goodbye from all of us.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.